Alright, so here we are with some Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I hate this game, alright, I just want to put that out here. But if you don't know, which if you don't know this, you've probably been living under a rock because this absolutely destroyed the internet yesterday. By the way, I hope the audio's fine, but anyways. Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 4 was officially announced yesterday. The most unexpected game ever. The last one came out like 16 years ago, okay? And this is huge, right? And chances are you've seen the reaction, right? Literally everyone is excited for this game. Even people that that aren't Dragon Ball fans. Because Budokai Tenkaichi 3, the last game, was such a big game that it doesn't matter if you like Dragon Ball or not. Chances are it made you a Dragon Ball fan in the first place, but even if it didn't, you heard of the game and you probably even played it. That's just the type of game it was. It was so popular. And some people will say Dragon Ball FighterZ is the best Dragon Ball game, and it probably, it is like a really good game to play. But it's a bad Dragon Ball game, right? I mean, it's a Dragon Ball game that doesn't even have transformations. But, yeah, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 had it all, and it did not cut corners. It did not cut corners. But I am here because a lot of people are incredibly hyped about the game, and a lot of people are expecting a lot of things from it, right? Why wouldn't... Okay, so here's the thing, right? The last game is a 16-year-old PS2 game. Why wouldn't the new game be better, right? Well, let's talk about what it has to do to be better. And also, my extreme concerns for the game, right? So first of all, here's Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, the last Dragon Ball game. I know you're saying Dragon Ball FighterZ is the last Dragon Ball game, but Budokai Tenkaichi 4 is not going to be competing with FighterZ. It's going to be competing with this game. This game sold more copies, and it plays more like an arena fighter, because it is an arena fighter. Anyways, look how many characters are in this game, right? And first of all, I want to say, here's Goku. Look how many different versions of Goku is in the game. And yeah, they all look completely different as well, right? Even Trunks has his hoodie. Goku GT has a damaged version. Like, look how many characters there are, right? Like, and not everyone has a variation, but a lot of people do. Like, Piccolo has his outfits, his destroyed outfits. Yamcha has his short hair. Even Raditz has a destroyed outfit, his shoulder piece. Even Nappa has his outfits, And then just look how many characters there are. I forgot to unlock 2 right here, but I mean, other than that. Alright, and here's where the characters stop. You're probably like, but there's more characters, right? All of these characters are DLC. And if you're wondering, this game came out 7 years ago, and it's still getting new characters. There are characters I haven't even bought here. There's about 6 more characters that are that I'm missing, because I didn't buy them. I just stopped playing the game. I don't care about the game anymore. I don't even like the game that much. I just, Budokai Tenkaichi 4 is here, okay? There's no point ever playing this game ever again. So, here, let me just start a match, have that going in the background. So, what am I worried about, okay? Well, number one is the roster. If you don't know, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 has the biggest roster out of any of these games. It has, like, over 100 characters. And yes, it is part of a trilogy, so it uses the characters that the first 2 games had, to pad out the roster. It reuses characters that the other games had. So, obviously the new game isn't going to have that ability. So it's going to really, really limit the amount of characters we get. I feel like we're not going to get even 60 characters, right? And I would love to be proved wrong, right? And you're probably wondering, 60 characters is a lot for a fighting game. Nowadays it is, but back then that wasn't the case, right? At least in in Budokai games, right? And you're probably like, what are all these like these sucky bootleg licensed anime games, right? All these sucky arenas. For example, Jump Force, One Punch Man, even the Demon Slayer game, right? It's higher quality than those games, but it's still pretty bad in the whole scope of things. You know, My Hero's One's Justice. What are these like low effort anime games? Well, if you don't know, Budokai is actually the one that started it. And the reason it got so popular to the point of where every single series needed an anime game, or like a low budget arena fighter. I just died. The whole reason, by the way, my controller has severe drift, so if you're noticing like why didn't I just hit him there, it's because I couldn't turn around. But whatever. Anyways, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 started the trend of games getting bad, just like anime arena fighters, just for money. Here's the thing: Budokai Tenkaichi 3 isn't bad, right? It's the best arena fighter ever made. It was so good that Bandai thought, oh, we could just do this for every single series ever and make a bunch of money off of it, because that's how good the first one was. Obviously, it's not the case, right? If you don't know, there were 2 more Budokai Tenkaichi games that came out. 2, and they were both on the PS3, right? They were called Raging Blast and Raging Blast 2. And yes, these games, while they don't have the same name, they play the exact same, right? And they're good. I would say they are worse, but they're good, right? And so, what is the Budokai Tenkaichi 4 needs to have in order to create a game? Like, why wouldn't I just go play Xenoverse, right? Because Xenoverse has a lot of stuff in it. What would make it different to the point where there's actually a reason to play it, right? Well, first things first is better gameplay. This game has very brain-dead gameplay, right? And I'm not going to say that Budokai Tenkaichi isn't a button masher, because you could definitely button mash in that game. However, it's incredibly fast-paced and incredibly hype when you actually get good at the game. Because yes, believe it or not, it's an arena fighter, but you can get good at it. So, yeah, when you're actually good at the game and you're just both going at it, it looks like an actual Dragon Ball fight, and it's just so high quality. The sound effects, the speed, it's really like the best Dragon Ball game ever. Like, it just represents Dragon Ball perfectly. So it needs to have that gameplay, because this game does not have this. This game has, oh, you hit a guy, you teleport behind him, you break his stamina, you do the same combo, usually an infinite combo, you kill him. So it needs to have better gameplay. Will it have the same type of like floaty, you walk really slow and then you like start... You have to play Budokai and Raging Blast to understand what I'm talking about, but it has a very different feel than any other arena fighter. It needs to have that, right? Number 2, it needs to have a big roster. I'm saying 60 characters minimum, right? And this is where the problem takes place, because if you don't know, the Xenoverse roster is in order of when the series happened, besides this little first page, right? So here's the Saiyan Saga, excuse the Vegetas, here's the Namek Saga, here's the Cell Saga, all the Cell characters, here's the Buu Saga, and the Buu Saga is where the series ended, right? However, we get into Dragon Ball Super, the next series. Here's the Super Saga, here's some super characters. More super characters. This is where Super Saiyan Blue came from, this show Dragon Ball Super. Jiren, Ultra Instinct, Gogeta Blue. These are Dragon Ball Super Broly. Super Saiyan God Vegeta, this guy. They all came from the new series Dragon Ball Super, right? When Budokai Tenkaichi 3 came out, Dragon Ball Super did not exist. So now, here's where the problem arises, right? Will we even get a 60 character roster? Will that even happen, right? And if we do, a lot of your favorites might get left out because now you have to worry about Dragon Ball Super, which is a very long series that's been running for like 10 years or something. And here's the thing. Would you rather have Master Roshi or Jiren? Because personally, even though Roshi is cool, I'd rather have Jiren, right? Is that the type of sacrifices they're going to have to make in the roster? Are they going to have to get rid of, you know, more unique characters to add characters that, like, sure, Roshi is important, right? But I feel like you would notice a lot more if they left out Goku Black. You know, he's a main villain. So now will the roster have even less unique characters than other Dragon Ball games because they have to fit in Dragon Ball Super? Who knows? Another thing the game needs to have is characters that just aren't in any game. And what I mean is Great Ape characters. So Great Ape characters are actually in Xenoverse, however you cannot play as them. You can only fight them. In the Budokai games, you can not only play as them, right? But there was extreme detail. First of all, Raditz had a Great Ape form in Budokai. And also, he had, like, his own hair, too. Like, he had his own specific Great Ape model. So did Nappa. Even Gohan can go Great Ape. Even Kid Goku from the original Dragon Ball can go Great Ape. Here's where the problem arises. They put so much detail in it. First of all, Vegeta was the only person that can go Great Ape during the day because he can make a fake moon. But all the other characters actually had to play on a nighttime stage to turn Great Ape. That's huge, right? That's just a crazy amount of detail. Another thing is characters could also fuse, right? So, you could allow characters to fuse into Gogeta or Vegito, you know, if they had a fusion, or Gotenks, whatever. And you could just choose which one you wanted, right? You could also transform through all of their forms at any time. For example, you could do that in this game. You can go Super Saiyan 1, 2, and 3. But you actually could not go to Blue, Super Saiyan Blue in the last game, because obviously it didn't exist then, right? They even had Buff Trunks, which is not in any other game. Super Saiyan Grade 4 Trunks, I think it is, Grade 4, whatever that is. The game also had different Super Saiyan hair. So if you were to pick Namek Goku, right? He would have white Super Saiyan hair, white fluffy hair. But if you were to pick Super Saiyan or like Buu Saga Goku, he would have this sharp spiky hair like this. Because if you don't know, Super Saiyan had a very different look. It was very fluffy and it was kind of white instead of yellow. It was like a golden white. That's the type of detail these games had. Will this be able to be lived up to, right? You're probably saying, why am I worried about this, right? Well, if you don't know, the developers of the next game are a company called Spike Chunsoft, okay? The people that made the original Budokai are Spike. They were just called Spike. They made Budokai, Tenkaichi, and Raging Blast. After they made those games, they turned into another company called Spike Chunsoft. So yes, the people that are making this game, it's the same company that made the first game. No, Bandai did not make the game. Atari did not make the game. No, they published the game. The people that made the game was a company called Spike, and they turned into a company called Spike Chunsoft, right? And they're the ones making the game. So you're probably saying, oh, it's the same dev team. Why are you worried? I'm going to tell you why I'm worried. If you don't know, they came out with 2 fighting games within the past 4 years. If you don't know, these fighting games were the One Punch Man Arena Fighter and also Jump Force, aka two of the worst games of the past 4 years. If you don't know, these games are so bad that they were shut down. Jump Force was taken off of the store. You can't even buy it anymore, let alone if you did have it, you can't even play it online anymore. Their quality has massively decreased over the years. Massively. And this is where the worry kicks in, because are they able to create the same level of quality that we saw back then? However, if you saw the teaser trailer, right? The teaser trailer had higher quality animation than both of those two games, One Punch Man and Jump Force, combined, right? And I'm going to say this right now. It's not even a question. Does the new game look better than Dragon Ball FighterZ? Absolutely it does. And that's because Dragon Ball FighterZ, also a Xenoverse, if you look at this, Dragon Ball FighterZ uses the wrong character design. So it's not its fault, because when Dragon Ball FighterZ came out, there was nothing they could do. But now we have new character designs that look absolutely amazing. They're from the newest movies, the two newest movies, and they look absolutely beautiful. And this game, unfortunately, went with the ugly character designs that they had before, Dragon Ball Super. But, yeah, the new Budokai game is actually using the new character designs from the new movies. So the game is going to have a style where the characters look insanely good, instead of, like, plastic, like these characters. And Dragon Ball FighterZ also looks better than Xenoverse, obviously. But I think that, if they would have used the Broly movie way of designing characters, it would have looked absolutely insane. But the Broly movie didn't really exist when the game came out, so overall, visually, it's the best looking Dragon Ball game. Quality-wise, character design-wise, and something to note from the movie, or from the trailer that they showed, which is also something that has not been done in any Dragon Ball game. I don't know if it's ever been done ever, but in the movie, or in the trailer, first of all, they're using Goku's transformation against Super Broly. His animation is the same way he transformed against Super Broly, right? So this can probably confirm that Super Broly is going to be in the game. Now, is Super Broly and normal Broly going to be into the game? I don't know, right? However, the fact that we have to answer this question, or ask this question, is concerning, right? Because if this were back then, yeah, both characters would have been in the game, right? But nowadays, we have to wonder, are they going to choose one over the other? Is OG Bardock going to be in the game, or is it going to be the newer Bardock with his newer design? Who knows? Is Super Saiyan Goku Black going to be in the game? Well, that was only in the manga, right? In the show, he just went from base form to Rose. In the manga, he went Super Saiyan normally. Well, if you don't know, he went Super Saiyan Blue in the trailer, and the stage that he went Super Saiyan Blue on was Namek. Now, this could just be a coincidence. However, the only time Goku has went Super Saiyan Blue is in the newest, one of the newer arcs of Dragon Ball Super, which only happened in the manga. So, will we be getting manga exclusive characters? I don't know. But the only time he went Super Saiyan Blue was in the manga, on Namek at least. So, if there are manga exclusive characters, this will be the only Dragon Ball game to feature them. So, that would already be an advantage that Budokai Tenkaichi 4 has over the other games. So that would be cool. Also, the old games have customizable movesets. Not a big deal. I think they're gonna include that. The other games also had something that this game sorta has, but not really. The old Budokai Tenkaichi had no character balancing. Like you could pick Gogeta Super Saiyan 4 and just one shot like Roshi or something. Like it was over. Will they keep that? I don't know, right? Overall, you know, I feel like I'm kind of like blabbering, right? But if you've played the One Punch Man game and if you played Jump Force, you understand why I'm concerned. Because both of those games' servers have been shut down. You can still buy One Punch Man, but you cannot buy Jump Force. That has been taken off the store. And this is incredibly concerning because what happened, you know, to make such bad quality? And when you look at it, right, both of those games, like I said, both of their servers have been shut down, and one of them isn't even purchasable anymore. This happens, and then right after this happens, they announce the most anticipated game of all time. Like, this is at least in the top 10, right? What happened? Did they press the panic button and said, look, we're gonna make a game. The game might suck, but people are gonna be so excited for it that they'll just buy it anyways. Is that gonna be the case? Are they just making this game just to make a quick cash out because their last two games were absolutely terrible failures? Who knows, right? But we'll have to see. And the one thing that's concerning me is that it says a new Budokai game is now in development. Does that mean that we're 2 years away from this game, or are we only a year away? Because I'm predicting that we're only a year away, right? And unfortunately, if you don't know, the game is not going to be taken seriously. It's not a competitive game, right? It's an arena fighter. No, almost zero arena fighters are taken seriously, right? The only thing I wish is that it doesn't happen like the other arena fighters. For example, Demon Slayer, that game got thrown to the side immediately. I want this game to live for as long as Dragon Ball Xenoverse lived. This game has been going on for 7 years, and it's still getting new characters. I want the next Dragon Ball game to live for the next 7 years because it looks absolutely beautiful. And I want the game to have 100 characters, right? So, what does the game need to have to live up to the previous game? It needs to have minimum 80 characters, minimum. It needs to have transformations, every single transformation. It cannot miss a single one. It needs to have every single transformation that every single character has, right? For example, in this game, Zarbon starts off like this, not his ugly form. Or no, wait, I think Zarbon turns into his ugly form, my bad. In this game, he doesn't even have that. This is the only playable form of Zarbon. And the old games used to be able to transform into it. Turles could even go grade 8 in the old games. Frieza could transform between all of his stages. In this game, the only playable versions of Frieza are First Form, Final Form, and Golden. Both versions of Cooler are in this game, but you can't transform. They're separate characters, right? Budokai Tenkaichi let you transform into all of these. Cell, Second Form Cell is in this game. You can't transform. They're separate characters. It needs to have transformable every single character. So it needs to have a minimum 80 characters, transformable characters. It has to have customizable movesets. It has to have really fast combat. Personally, if they copy and pasted the combat from the last game, I don't think anyone would be upset. It also has to have good single-player modes, and it has to have one of the most important modes in the game, 5 versus 5 tag team, where you could pick 5 characters at any given moment, and just you could have them fuse together. You could have them, switch out, transform, and you just kept fighting until they all died. And some of these matches could last like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It needs to have good netcode, right? The original game wasn't online, really. So, they could really make an impact by having this be the first arena fighter with good netcode, because the last games didn't have good netcode. They didn't have any netcode, pretty much. And Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 has some of the worst netcode I've ever seen in a video game, so they really need to step it up. And speaking on the fact of 5v5, they need to make new improvements that weren't in the other games. For example, if there is 5v5, which there should be, you should be able to do 10-player matches where each player controls a character. That would be insane. There needs to be destructible environments. There needs to be lots of detail given to characters, like I said. Like, some characters can only transform into Great Ape at night. Vegeta can do it during daytime, because he's Vegeta. There needs to be detail like that. For example, Cell can steal your energy in the OG in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, right? He can steal your energy in those games. He cannot steal energy from androids because they aren't living people. They're robots, right? That's the type of detail that were in those games, right? They aren't in these games. They just that detail just doesn't exist anymore. And these are very weird expectations, but the thing is, if you want to be better than a 16-year-old game, these are the things you have to implement, because these are what people are expecting. If they can't do these things, the game will be worse than the last one. Even if it looks prettier, it will be worse. Anyways, I know this is a very long video, but this is the most unexpected video game announcement I've ever seen in my life, right? The only thing that would top this is if tomorrow I woke up to a new Marvel vs. Capcom game. This is one of the most hyped games of all time. And there hasn't been a new one in 16 years, and now all of a sudden they're just deciding to do it, right? Which leaves me kind of concerned. Are they deciding to do it because their last games failed so badly and they need to make an impact? Or do they genuinely care and they want to make a worthy sequel to these games? If anything, their last 4 years of games has me very concerned, but we'll see. Anyways, like, subscribe. I'm going to have some Tekken tomorrow, and yeah, let's just hope we see more on this game soon. Peace.